Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why some goals stick while others fade into the background like yesterday's news? It's not because the people who succeed are luckier or more talented than you. It's because they started with a powerful why. A reason so strong it anchors them when life gets messy and motivation runs thin. I want you to think back to a time when you set a goal and felt that spark, that rush of possibility. Maybe it lasted a few days, maybe a few weeks, but then the spark dimmed. That's not because you weren't capable. It's because you didn't build the foundation, and that foundation is always your why. You see, reasons always come before results. If you want goals that survive past the excitement phase, you need a reason that matters deeply. It's not about vague wishes like I want to be successful or I want to be healthier. Those sound nice, but they won't get you out of bed early when it's dark and cold. They won't keep you working after you've been knocked down. What will? A reason that hits you in the heart, a reason that's bigger than your excuses. Let's make this real. Imagine someone says, I want to get in shape. So I ask, why? They say, well, I just want to look better. That's fine, but it's not going to drive lasting change. Now picture someone else who says, I want to get in shape because my doctor told me I might not see my kids grow up if I don't change. Feel the difference. That's not a casual preference. That's a mission. That's urgency, and urgency is fuel. Here's something most people won't tell you. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the weather, but reasons, they stay. Reasons don't care if you're tired, if it's inconvenient, or if nobody else believes in you. If you can get clear on why this goal matters, really matters, you'll create an unshakable commitment. I've seen this over and over in my work as a coach. People who build their goals on a strong why don't give up when things get uncomfortable. They don't bail out at the first sign of resistance. They adapt, they persist, and eventually they succeed because quitting feels like betraying something sacred. So right now, I want you to ask yourself a question you may not have asked before. Why do you really want what you say you want? What's at stake if you don't follow through? Maybe it's freedom, maybe it's respect, maybe it's the example you're setting for your children. Maybe it's finally proving to yourself that you can be the person you've always imagined. Don't settle for surface-level answers. Dig deeper. Keep asking why until you find the truth that hits you in the gut. That truth. That's where your power is. That's the reason that can carry you through every obstacle. Because there will be obstacles. There will be days when you feel like giving up. And on those days, your why will be the reason you don't. I want you to take this seriously. Before you even think about the how, the timeline, the strategies, I want you to write down 5 reasons why your goal matters to you. Make them personal, make them emotional, make them so important that not pursuing your goal would feel like a loss you simply can't accept. When you do this, something shifts. You stop treating your goal like a hobby and start treating it like a promise to yourself and to everyone who matters to you. That's where real transformation begins, not in the goal itself, but in the reason behind it. And remember this, when your why is strong enough, you won't need constant motivation. You'll have something better, purpose. Purpose is what gets you to take action even when you don't feel like it. Purpose is what helps you keep moving when fear tries to stop you. Purpose is what turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. So as you move forward, never underestimate the power of your why. It is the engine behind every breakthrough you will ever experience. And once you have it locked in, you'll be ready for the next step, defining exactly what you want with absolute clarity. That's where we're going next. Let's pick up right where we left off. You've taken the time to discover your why, the reason that matters more than any excuse you'll ever come up with. Now it's time to get specific about what you want, because here's a truth a lot of people never confront. You cannot hit a target you can't see. Think about it. Most people spend their lives drifting. They say things like, I want to be successful, I want to be happy, or I want to be healthier. But when you ask them, what exactly does that mean? They go blank. If you can't define it, you can't design it. Vague goals create vague results. Clarity is what turns hope into a plan. I want you to imagine for a second you're about to take a road trip. You wouldn't just jump in the car and start driving aimlessly. You'd pick a destination, plan your route, and decide when you wanted to get there. Your life works the same way. If you don't decide exactly where you're going, you're just reacting to whatever shows up. Let me be even more clear. Most people don't fail because they aim too high and miss. They fail because they aim too low and hit. Or worse, they never aim at all. That's why clarity isn't optional, it's mandatory. So let's make this practical. A goal is not, I want to be rich. A goal is, I will earn $100,000 a year by December 31st through my consulting business. A goal isn't, I want to get in shape. A goal is, I will lose 15 pounds by October 1st by working out 4 times a week and eating a balanced diet. When you get that clear, something happens in your mind. Your brain clicks into gear. Your subconscious starts looking for ways to make it real. You begin to filter opportunities and decisions through the lens of your goal. Clarity activates your internal GPS. This is the moment when you stop reacting to life and start directing it. Because here's the cost of being vague. You wake up 5 years from now in the same place you are today, wondering why nothing changed. Don't let that happen. Now I get it. Sometimes people are afraid to get specific because it makes the goal feel real. When it's real, there's the risk of falling short. But let me tell you something. The only thing worse than failing is never trying. You don't grow from playing it safe. You grow from aiming high and learning as you go. So here's what I want you to do right now. Take one goal you care about and define it with absolute precision. Write down exactly what you want, why you want it, when you'll have it, and how you'll measure progress. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it, and if you can't manage it, you'll drift. Ask yourself, would I recognize this goal if I achieved it? If the answer is no, you need more clarity. Don't say soon. Don't say someday. Someday isn't a date on the calendar. Someday is where dreams go to die. Once you've defined your goal, write it down somewhere. You'll see it every single day. Put it on your bathroom mirror, your fridge, your phone background. Make it impossible to ignore. Because what you see often becomes what you do consistently. And here's something powerful to remember. Clarity doesn't just keep you focused. It also keeps you inspired. When you can see exactly what success looks like, you start to believe it's possible. And belief is fuel. This is how you start living on purpose instead of by accident. You decide what you want, you declare it, you commit to it, and you remind yourself every single day why it matters. Because here's the thing, life will always try to pull you off course. Distractions will come up. Urgent but unimportant tasks will steal your attention. If you haven't defined what matters most, everything will feel equally important. And that's how you end up overwhelmed and unfulfilled. But you're not here to drift. You're here to design a life that excites you, a life you can be proud of. And it all begins with getting crystal clear on what you want. So now that you've claimed your why and defined your what, you're ready for the next step, locking it in so it becomes more than a wish, because a goal written down is a goal that starts to come alive. And that's where we're going next. Now that you've claimed your why and defined exactly what you want, it's time to lock it in. Because here's a fact you can't ignore. Clarity without commitment is just a nice idea. It feels good to talk about goals, to dream about the life you could have, but if you don't make a decision, an unbreakable promise to yourself, nothing changes. I've worked with thousands of people over the years, and I can tell you with total certainty, the people who transform their lives are the ones who draw a line in the sand. They stop negotiating with their excuses. They stop waiting for the perfect time. They decide this is happening no matter what. Let's be honest, commitment is where most people hesitate, because when you commit, you eliminate your exit strategy. You can't keep one foot in your comfort zone. You can't keep telling yourself you'll start later. Commitment requires you to burn the ships. No backup plan, no fallback. Just the clear understanding that this is the path and you're all in. You might feel a little resistance as you hear this. That's normal. Your brain is wired to keep you safe and comfortable, but safety doesn't create growth. Comfort doesn't build confidence. If you want to feel alive, you have to be willing to commit before you have every answer. You have to trust yourself enough to figure it out as you go. Think about any area of your life where you've made big progress. It always started with a moment when you decided, this matters more than my fear, this matters more than my doubts. That decision is the birthplace of transformation. I want to give you a simple exercise that will help you lock in your commitment. Take a piece of paper and write this sentence at the top. I commit to achieving your goal by your deadline. Underneath it, write, I will not quit, no matter how long it takes or how hard it gets. Then sign your name and date it. It might sound like a small gesture, but research shows that when you make a written commitment, you activate a powerful psychological principle called consistency. When you declare something publicly, even if it's just to yourself, you're far more likely to follow through because your brain wants to stay aligned with your word. This is also the point where you stop making excuses. Excuses are stories we tell ourselves to feel better about not taking action. They sound reasonable, but they're almost always just fear wearing a disguise. I'm too busy. I don't know enough. I'm not ready. None of that will move you forward. What will? Deciding that you'll do whatever it takes, even if it's uncomfortable. If you wait to feel ready, you'll be waiting forever. Readiness isn't a feeling. It's a decision. You decide you're ready when you choose to start. And here's something I've learned firsthand. Commitment is contagious. When you show up fully committed, people around you notice. They respect it. They get inspired by it. You start to attract opportunities and allies you never imagined because your energy shifts from hesitant to unstoppable. This is also why you have to be careful who you share your goals with. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to your journey. Some people will project their own fears onto you. They'll tell you it's too hard, too risky, too ambitious. That's their limitation, not yours. Protect your commitment like it's sacred, because it is. When you decide to commit, expect resistance, expect challenges. That's not a sign to stop. It's proof you're growing. If the path was always smooth, you wouldn't need courage. The obstacles are there to test how serious you are. So from this moment on, I want you to adopt this mindset. I'm committed to the result, and I'm flexible with the approach. That means you don't quit when plan A fails. You adjust. You don't stop when you hit a wall. You find a way around it. That's what real commitment looks like. And when you hit those inevitable setbacks, and you will, you'll remind yourself why you started. You'll look at the promise you wrote down, and you'll remember that you decided this is non-negotiable. That's what separates those who dabble from those who achieve. So take the time today to make your commitment official. Write it down, say it out loud, feel it in your bones, because once you've made the decision to go all in, you're no longer hoping, you're no longer wishing, you're building momentum that nothing can stop. In the next chapter, we're going to talk about the strategies and daily practices that will turn this commitment into progress, because it's not enough to decide, you also have to do, and that's where the real magic happens. So you've declared your commitment, you've burned the ships behind you, and you're standing in that powerful place where there's no turning back. This is where we move from decision to action, because nothing you've learned matters if you don't translate it into consistent behavior. Let me be clear, progress isn't something that just happens to you. It's something you create on purpose, day by day, through habits. If commitment is the engine, your daily actions are the fuel. And you don't need massive, heroic effort all at once. You need small, deliberate steps repeated over time. Most people overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in a year. They try to sprint right out of the gate, then burn out when the excitement wears off. But success is rarely about intensity. It's about consistency. A little bit done every day beats a lot done once in a while. This is why rituals matter. A ritual is simply a routine with intention behind it. It's something you do automatically that moves you closer to your goal. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't debate whether to do it each morning. You just do it because it's part of who you are. Imagine if you approached your goals the same way. So let's get specific about how to design rituals that support your success. Start by breaking your big goal down into small, measurable actions you can do daily or weekly. If your goal is to build a business, maybe your ritual is reaching out to 3 new potential clients every day. If your goal is to get in shape, maybe your ritual is to work out first thing every morning for 30 minutes. Don't rely on willpower alone. Willpower is like a battery. It drains throughout the day. That's why it's smarter to design your environment to make good choices easier and bad choices harder. If you want to eat healthier, clear the junk food out of your house. If you want to read more, put a book on your pillow so you see it every night before bed. One of the most powerful tools you can use is something I call habit stacking. That means linking a new behavior to something you already do automatically. For example, if you always make coffee in the morning, stack a 5-minute journaling session right after you pour your cup. The existing habit becomes your trigger. Consistency also requires tracking. What gets measured gets improved. Keep a simple log of your daily actions. Check a box, write a note, mark an X on your calendar. That visual proof builds momentum and holds you accountable. And when you slip, and you will, don't turn a stumble into a collapse. One missed day doesn't erase your progress. It's what you do next that counts. High performers don't have perfect streaks. They have the ability to get back on track quickly without beating themselves up. I want you to start thinking of yourself as a professional in the business of achieving this goal. Pros don't show up only when they feel inspired. They show up because it's their job. They do the work whether it's convenient or not. When you adopt that mindset, you stop negotiating with yourself every morning. Remember this, emotion follows action. A lot of people wait to feel motivated before they do the work. But in reality, it's doing the work that creates the motivation. You build confidence by keeping promises to yourself. Every time you follow through, you prove to your brain that you can trust yourself to do hard things. Another critical piece of this process is celebrating small wins. Every milestone deserves recognition. When you acknowledge your progress, you reinforce the habit loop. Cue, action, reward. That positive feedback makes you want to keep going. And don't forget to review your progress regularly. Take time each week to ask yourself, what worked, what didn't, what can I improve? This reflection keeps you intentional and allows you to course correct before small problems become big ones. The truth is, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems, so build systems that make success inevitable. That means designing habits, environments, and routines that pull you forward instead of forcing you to rely on willpower alone. This is how you become the kind of person who achieves what you set out to do. It's not about luck. It's not about talent. It's about showing up day after day, long after the novelty has worn off. That's the price of transformation, and it's worth every bit of effort. In the next chapter, we're going to look at how to sustain this momentum over the long term, even when life gets messy. Because true commitment isn't tested when things are easy. It's tested when you hit the inevitable challenges. And I'm going to show you exactly how to stay strong when that moment comes. You've put in the work, you've built momentum, and you've proven to yourself that you can follow through. But here's the part that separates the people who achieve lasting success from those who fade out. Sustaining your commitment over the long haul. Because the truth is, motivation will fluctuate. Life will throw curveballs. Your energy will rise and fall, and that's normal. What matters is how you respond when it happens. Let's start with the reality that setbacks are inevitable. No matter how prepared you are, no matter how committed, you're going to hit obstacles you didn't see coming. You might face a financial challenge, an unexpected crisis, or simply a period of burnout where you feel like you've lost your fire. When that happens, you have a choice. You can interpret it as a sign you're not cut out for this, or you can see it as part of the process. One of the most powerful mindset shifts you can make is to decide in advance that adversity is feedback, not failure. It's your opportunity to learn, adapt, and grow. When you expect challenges, you don't get blindsided. You meet them with curiosity instead of self-judgment. Think of every setback as data. If something didn't work, ask yourself why. What can you tweak? What did you learn about yourself? High achievers aren't people who avoid mistakes. They're people who extract lessons and adjust quickly. Another key to sustaining momentum is to reconnect regularly with your purpose. Remember why you started this journey in the first place. When your energy dips, your why is what reignites your drive. Take time every week to review your goals and visualize the future you're building. Feel the emotions tied to achieving it: pride, fulfillment, freedom. That emotional fuel is what carries you through the tough days. It's also essential to build recovery into your process. Just like an athlete needs rest to perform at a high level, you need time to recharge. That could be a walk in nature, an afternoon with no agenda, or simply a good night's sleep. Burnout doesn't happen because you're working too hard. It happens because you're not balancing effort with renewal. Sometimes staying committed means recalibrating your strategy. If your approach isn't producing results, it doesn't mean your goal is wrong. It means you need to be flexible with how you get there. The most successful people I've coached all share this mindset. I'm married to the outcome, but I'm dating the methods. If one tactic fails, they pivot instead of quitting. Another powerful practice is to surround yourself with people who hold you to a higher standard. We become like the people we spend time with. If you're around those who make excuses and settle for less, you'll start lowering your own expectations. But if you're surrounded by those who are committed to growth, you'll feel inspired to keep leveling up. This is why accountability partners and mastermind groups can be game changers. When you know someone else is watching, you show up differently. You push harder, you stay consistent, and you don't want to let your team down. And when you achieve milestones along the way, celebrate them fully. Too many people wait until the end to acknowledge their progress. But recognizing each win, big or small, forces your identity as someone who follows through. It builds the belief that you can do it again. It's also worth remembering that commitment isn't about perfection. It's about resilience. You're going to have days where you fall short, where you don't feel like showing up, where you slip back into old habits. That doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're human. The difference is you recommit every time you stumble. You don't let a bad day turn into a bad week. You get back up and start again. When you think about your journey as a marathon instead of a sprint, you realize it's not about how fast you get there. It's about staying in the race. The people who win are the ones who refuse to quit, even when progress feels slow. And here's something most people don't realize. The longer you stay committed, the easier it gets at first. Every step feels hard because you're building new patterns. But over time, your habits become part of your identity. You stop thinking about whether you'll show up. You just do. That's the ultimate freedom. So as you keep moving forward, remember this. Your commitment is the anchor that holds you steady when the waves hit. It's the thing that keeps you grounded when your emotions swing. It's the promise you made to yourself that you refuse to break. In the next chapter, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to measure your progress, celebrate your wins, and keep leveling up so you never plateau. Because staying committed is just the beginning. Evolving into your next level is where the real transformation happens.